Hey everyone, and welcome back to 2BeLikeChrist. Let's talk about why we need to read the Bible comprehensively. So I know that not many people like to read the books of Leviticus and Deuteronomy because they're all about the laws that the children of Israel had to obey, and there's a bunch of really minute details that you might think, I'm never going to care about any of these things. But every once in a while, in studying them, you'll come across a really important biblical principle. And a good example of that is in Deuteronomy chapter 14. It's all about all the things that the children of Israel are allowed to eat and not eat, what's clean and unclean. In verse 19, the principle is, all winged insects are unclean for you. They shall not be eaten. See, I memorized that verse for you. So it's a blanket principle. Children of Israel, the Jews, are not supposed to eat insects. No questions asked. And as you begin to think about that and you probe your vast biblical knowledge, you may remember that John the Baptist ate locusts all the time, and locusts are an insect. They kind of look like a grasshopper. And you think to yourself, that John the Baptist, he must have been a sinner. But isn't it Jesus who calls John the Baptist the greatest born before the kingdom of heaven came? What could this mean? This is a great example of why we need to take the Bible comprehensively, because guess what? There's another passage in the Bible that gives a more specific detail on what they're allowed to eat and what they're not allowed to eat. And unless we incorporate that into our study, we're going to be scratching our heads when we come to John the Baptist. And that verse, which I didn't memorize for you, says this: all winged insects that go on all fours are detestable to you. Yet, among the winged insects that go on all fours, you may eat those that have jointed legs above their feet, with which to hop on the ground. Of them you may eat the locust of any kind, the bald locust of any kind, the cricket of any kind, and the grasshopper of any kind. But all other winged insects that have 4 feet are detestable to you. Ah, yes, and that helps us get out of our spiritual dilemma. So when John comes on the scene in the New Testament and he's eating locusts and wild honey, we now know that those were exempted from the unclean policy if we take Leviticus 11 into account with Deuteronomy. And this principle continues to be important for us today. And that's because a lot of times you'll hear somebody preach a principle or a command out of a particular text, and they'll just maybe reference one verse. And it's really important for us to look at the entire Bible, the entire context of the Bible, and pull in anything that is applicable to any given principle in one particular text. And it's only when we do that that we get the perfect, complete message that God intends for us to have. So the next time you hear somebody preaching on one particular text, ask yourself the question, what else does the Bible say about this? And is there anything else that I need to pull into this study to get the complete picture? Just as an example, one area that I know this is particularly important is when it comes to the question, what do I need to do to be saved? Well, there's all kinds of verses. Some talk about having faith, some talk about salvation through grace, some talk about baptism, and on those characteristics go. And so for us to be able to answer the question, what do I need to do to be saved? Well, it's important that we bring in all of those verses and build our theology based off what all of those verses are telling us, not just one here or one there or one characteristic here or another command here. So think about this the next time you're sitting in a Bible class or listening to a sermon, or maybe you have to teach a class. Remember to look at the Bible comprehensively. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. I had a good response when I mentioned that I might do some apologetics videos in the future, and believe me, those are coming, and they're in the works, and they'll be here soon. So don't think that I forgot about those. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, do that down below. Leave any comments on this or any other thoughts that you may have on either of these two texts. Maybe you like eating locusts too. Well, tell me down below. Hit that thumbs up button and share this with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.